Welcome back to League of Inches podcast. 2 in a week. You've all asked for this episode, so we have finally delivered. We were very hesitant, me and Jesse. It is our Supercoach team reveal number 2. Once again, guys, this will be a YouTube version video, and we'll have the slideshow up showing our teams as we speak. So we will definitely explain it for the podcast listeners. But if you can jump over to YouTube and you want to actually see the team, understand it a bit more as we go, definitely do that way as well. And make sure you subscribe when you do so as well. It'll be helpful as well. But I tell you what, when we did the first reveal, I remember saying that we didn't want to be this page just bombard you with team reveals, which I feel like we have been good with. I haven't even posted team reveals. I haven't done like that, but you guys have been hounding me going, we need to know what changes you guys have made so far with all the podcasts that are coming out, all the information. I must admit, like I even listened back to the episodes and stuff, and it has changed a lot of the stuff that I was originally going in for. So thinking back on it, actually probably is a good idea to do this video, but coming to air tonight, I already know now for a fact that myself and Jesse have already thought about a couple of changes to the lineups we're already going to show you. It just shows you as we're getting closer, the trials haven't even. So wait till the trials start. It's going to be another kettle of fish. We're going to have to do a team reveal 3 on that week of round 1. But yeah, there's plenty to talk about. Jesse, I know you've been deleting, restarting, going again about 20 times just for today. How's things with this team?
Oh, I actually have already cleared it since I sent it to you, so I've had to go back to the photo. But it's actually I was thinking before this might be pretty fun just to see what we think our teams will look like until team lists come through, all these trials, and just being like, I'm pretty close, I'm a little bit off, and I'm starting to have different ideas about it, and they're going to be massive changes. When we get into it, I'll explain obviously as we go, but yeah, I just don't know anymore. Looking at it, it's all
Oh,
guesswork. It's all guesswork until the
it
game
is.
starts. So yeah,
And all these little news articles get leaked about someone like Cam Graham's obviously out now. That's big news
it's
from a
huge.
South point of view. So that could change so much there. So that's something that we need to take into account, which I haven't had time to. I know that much for today. So that's another change we've got to think about. But what I'll probably do something fun, guys. That in that week of round 1, I'll probably just make a little post up showing the changes as we've gone for each reveal. So I said we'll probably have a third reveal on that week. So it'd be cool just to compare the reveal 1 through to our reveal 3 teams and just how much things have changed and if any players have actually stayed through the course of time. So let's get into it. I'm going to go once again first. I'll leave the best for last. I hate to say it, but Jesse did
Nice.
smash me by about 10,000 positions last year. So he gets last say. So I'll go through mine. Made it so it's not as stretched out this time. So hopefully everyone can see that. I did include the salary remaining as well, so we know what we're sort of playing with. So at the moment with this team that I've got $125,000 free. So those listening in on the podcast, I'm to be honest with you, I was actually felt like I was more happy and content with my team reveal 1 than what I am right now with my team reveal 2. But in saying that, I can definitely understand some of the changes I've made. Some of the changes I've made is because I've wanted to fit in a double gun in certain positions and things like that, which has made things really hard for me. And um, I have never been happy with my wing and centers, but I will get to that and explain why. So starting at the hookers, interesting on straight off the bat, which is someone I didn't think I would ever go for, but after speaking about the Roosters, me and Jesse the other day, and a lot of people reached back and gave us some good feedback for that episode. Brandon Smith, 471K is my starting hooker. I basically just see not a, I won't say a lot of upside, but I definitely see some upside, especially early on for Brandon Smith. We've already spoken about the Roosters don't have a buy for ages, so if hopefully he stays fit and I can keep him there until it works to get Harry Green in at some point, which is obviously going to be the case for me. I don't see myself keeping Brandon Smith for the whole time. But I think the Roosters are going to start a lot better than they have in the past. There's a bit of pressure on them this year to make sure they get that right. For mine, I don't want to have too many Roosters, but I'll definitely have a couple in here just to make sure I'm benefiting off that because I feel like a lot of these selections, I'm trusting the gut. We've always said you got to trust your gut with this sort of stuff, and that's sort of my prediction on the Roosters. So I feel like I've got to back that when it comes to Supercoach as well. My bench hooker, I've gone away from Brayley. Didn't think I'd ever say that, but after doing the Knights podcast, having a discussion about it, it just for me makes a bit more sense to try and pick out another hooker that's going to go close to 80. For mine, that's Joey Lussick from the Parramatta Eels, 313K. Knowing Brad Arthur, he's already come out and said he wants to choose one, which I think is absurd. You already know my opinion on that. I do think Brendan Hands is the better hooker as well, but I just think Lussick is a sort of a mate sort of pick for Brad Arthur in a way. I just feel like he's a very much a Brad Arthur type player, and Brad Arthur will pick him there. Look, ideally, he'd start for 20 minutes and Brendan Hands would come on for 60 and do the rest of the work. If that was to be the case, I'd probably try and put Hands on because I reckon he'd get decent points even at 60 minutes, but see what happens there. Tommy Flegler, 475K is my main big dog prop. I say that, but my next choice is only about 10,000, 15,000 difference, and that is Leo Thompson, which, again, after our night's discussion, it definitely makes sense. Great points per minute. I feel like he's going to get his minutes increased. I know the Safidi brothers are still there, but for mine, I'm seeing Leo Thompson is really that guy that sort of steps up more and more this year, especially with the rumoured signing of his brother for the year after. On my bench, I've got Sam Hughes, which I feel like for the Bulldogs, 238K, so almost bottom dollar. It just seems like he's one of the must-haves for mine to start season at Supercoach. I feel like he's going to be in for some big minutes. We've heard the rumours, and Gus has already come out and confirmed that he's one of the best trainers so far this off-season, which is huge. Last player he said that about last year was Preston, and we all know what Preston did, not just for NRL, but for Supercoach as well. So for mine, I've got to be all over Hughes. My other one is sort of a hopeful signing, Benti Cura, which I'm hoping gets some minutes off the bench. He's bottom dollar. So for mine, if he can even just get like a 20, 25-minute stint, I'm anticipating him to be a battering ram, though he'd be very hard to tackle. A few tackle breaks in there, but that is definitely one that I'm not 100% on, because one thing I will say about my team is I want to make sure I've got to start with every single player on the field come round one is one of my personal goals when it comes to this team. That way I know I'm hopefully generating some cash flow from pretty much every player in an ideal world, obviously. Second round forwards, again, guys, I'll get to halfback and then I'll let Jesse have a quick say on this page. Sean Lane, 446. Josh Curran, 421K. And Angus Crichton has been a late change. Again, after our discussion, I sort of listened back and I thought it makes sense. And not that I don't think, honestly, I think Wong's the best second row option at the Roosters. I just think I can free myself up an extra, I think it was 70, 80K almost when I did this trade, which does come in handy, especially when I do make, I think, the changes I'm going to make after this episode. I just think Crichton has quite a bit of upside for his price because, as we said, I can see him playing a little bit of middle as well at some point, even though I don't think he's needed there. I just think he'll find a way to be doing it. And if not, if he becomes the second row we know he can, his headspace is a lot better this year. He's had a full preseason, looking really fit. I think we can benefit from that a lot as super coaches. I think we all forget just how good he was for us for super coaches when he was fit and having great consistent years. Brendan P. Cura is on the bench for mine. Couldn't find a way to my starting team, but to be honest, I'll be playing him week in, week out, so I don't think that really matters. He'll be definitely my first reserve picked. Tallis Duncan, 321K. I think it's a bargain from the rumors that we're all hearing about him starting on the edge. If that is the case, then I'm all over him. I'm probably going to keep him, even if he's not named, he's named on the bench, because I still think he'll get some decent minutes, because I think that will then sort of with the middle rotation, and I think Jai Arrow will play a bit more middle, even if he does start on the edge. He'll only be there for about 20, 25 minutes in my eyes, and then Duncan will come on for the remainder and basically hopefully tear it up, as we know he has shown so far. And Viliami Fafita, you've all known so far, the duel really helps for him. Bottom dollar at the Dragons. I look at that Dragons bench and I just think for the hype that this guy's had now for a couple of the years, it's got to be a time where Flanagan goes, you know what? I'm going to give you a few games at least to start, show me what you can do. So I'm hoping to sort of bank on that a little bit. Halfbacks, I'll stay with the two big dogs, Hines and Cleary. I guess that the elephant in the room is the more I think about it, the more I'm starting to get tempted to not have Cleary and free up another 400K or something, which will be huge for this team and a much better balance, I feel like. Cleary's starting to really scare me about. I know it's Cleary. I know how good he is, but I also feel like he's also human. And do they want to be hard at the start? They're not the Roosters. There's no pressure on the Panthers, so they can afford to sort of come out of the gates, get a couple of wins up, maybe get a couple of losses as well at the start. But going overseas, they're literally going overseas. I think it's 8 days before their first game, so it's huge. There's got to be some sort of fatigue naturally in that, so that might stick around with them. I know there's some quality, obviously personnel there for staff to hopefully not have that happen. But yeah, for me, it's not locked in yet. Who knows? I could keep the two doubles, and it's obviously if that's the case, then I'm not wasting any trades. I'll probably hopefully keep them all year. That's the other benefit to it. But they're around that 400K mark or 300K mark, whatever it's going to be, is very tempting. Jesse, that first page, again, I seem to somehow always have these episodes, and I have a little bit in the bank, which I do like.
Yeah, I don't
I just kind of
understand that.
can't seem
I
to
can't.
spend it.
You can't seem to spend it. I can't seem to get enough of it. I'm struggling. I look at that and it's very similar to mine. I feel like there might even be potentially a bit more money spent on this page, which confuses me because you've got 120K in the bank. So, um, Brandon Smith, we spoke about him, man. Like, I feel like he's a pretty decent placeholder to start with, at the very least. I can't see his value going down, and if it only goes up, it
Mm.
hopefully lines up around the same sort of time that you can get a bit of cash together and move him on. Um, and then Lussick too, if he does get that 80-minute spot, man, I'm probably going to be on him pretty quick because of the upside just with minutes. I still feel like it will be Hands, but I'm hopeful it is Lussick because obviously he's cheaper. And I feel like he's more Supercoach relevant for his game. Maybe not for the Eels to win, but just just in general for us to make
And so
points out of.
you're
So
not a para fan then, so
no,
that's why you're
no,
wishing that.
no. I only watch the points, man. Um, Flegel and Thompson both very solid. Can't really go wrong. I feel they're both going to be I feel very vital for their teams and their positions. I feel like they both have more upside than they did last year. So I can't fault it. I've looked at both of those many a time, so
Yeah.
that's cool. But I feel like you've got probably not much of a big chance with the bench. Sam Hughes, I'm a big fan of, but I just feel like Takura, I haven't heard enough about him recently after
Mm.
those first few posts about where he's going to come from and stuff. But um, I haven't seen anything about him working into it. I haven't just nothing. It's kind of been radio silence. So um, it's just a bit tricky. Like you do have a lot of coin there, so you can definitely go to someone else. There is a couple in the 300s that would be probably good for you, but it's an easy fix, that one. It's one swap
Yeah.
away, so that's fine. Um, the second row pack is about as template as they're coming at the moment, I think, and
Yeah.
it's just going to have to be a trial thing. We'll just see how they're all looking, but I'm starting to see just so much upside and value in having a full stacked like second row of just mid tier players, like
Mm.
400 and lower. So
Yeah.
or 500 and lower. Sorry. So yeah, I didn't really want to do that, but I'm struggling to find the value outside of that. So yeah, it's
Come
they're
over to
pretty
the
much the
dark
ones
side.
too, pretty much. Lane is basically, it's Shaw Lane. Everyone's got him, so there's not much point talking there. I'm a fan of the Crichton pick personally. Obviously, I've done it too, but it's very wishful. I feel
Yeah.
like if it never happens, I'll be like, oh, it was a pipe dream that I just want to see. But obviously has immense upside when if he does get picked there. And I think for now, you just leave it in there and just wait and see what happens. And if it comes through that he's not named, you just make the change, and the team's going to get wholesale changes anyway come that Tuesday. So, yeah, but far out, man. I just hope he gets it. Him just
So do I.
climbing over 600 would be so handy. Um,
Well, to be honest, if it's either it's going to be him or Wong. I feel like at least with one edge. So whoever
yeah.
it is for mine, I'm gonna trade. If it's Wong, I'll just go back up to Wong, and
Well, that's the
I'm
thing.
still happy. I
Yeah.
obviously would prefer to have Wong. As I said, like I feel like he's got better upside attack wise, especially with his tackle breaks, line breaks, and things like that. He could produce, I think, more of that than what Crichton can. But I'm happy with Crichton just for a base purpose and the work. I know he can get through when he is fit, which he is definitely looking
Hmm.
fit. So
Well, that's the thing. It was never an injury with him. So if he just stayed physically fit, he was always going to be fine. It was just a mental thing. So providing that's gone away, I just don't see why he doesn't go back there because he's
yeah,
clearly the best. So Pure Cora, Talis Duncan, both have a great deal of upside providing they're picked. They're pretty standard at the moment. So um, William Fafita, I haven't heard enough of him either from the actual team. Obviously, his ownership's really high. I'm hearing a lot more about Dylan Egan internally,
yeah,
like
I
from the
seen that.
Dragons and their posts, and they're identical pricing. Obviously, he's not dual, so that's the kind of stuff that I want to be seeing for him personally
Yeah,
to have that sort of
it'll
ownership.
just be a
So
swap. It'll be a
yeah,
straight
well, it's a
swap
straight
team
swap.
this
They're the same
Tuesday. So
price. It means nothing. So it's just one of those things. I just yeah, I haven't really seen much about it. It's more so just a lot of
it would
hopes and dreams that he
it'd
does
more
get
so be
picked.
annoying because at the
Mm,
moment his big upside is the dual factor, which will
yeah, that's pretty
help a
much where
lot,
I'd
I
see it.
think. So
Yeah.
that's the annoying part.
Yeah, and I think his ownership's probably high because people are plugging him in both front row and second row in overall teams. So, yeah, maybe if Egan had front row too, you'd pretty much see that quite balanced between the two of them. And then yeah, the two guns, man, the two gun halves. That's the staple, isn't it? It's the centerpiece. You're pretty much just making it look like that
Yeah,
because of owning those two. I feel the exact same
that's
way. It's getting to that point now where I'm thinking, coming closer to the day, I'm not very confident in the players I've got getting actually picked, and pretty much all it'll mean is just one of those two down to someone still definitely viable. You might take an average of 30-point hit, even though the upside's definitely higher with Cleary over everyone or Hines. I'd still keep Hines. Um, but if you can get someone that'll do a 50-60 instead of an 80-90 and really bolster the team over that points difference, then it's just worth it. It just, it makes
definitely.
total sense. So I just don't like not seeing him in the team. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
scary.
I'm in the same position as you, man. But
It's it's, it's
it's you go over it over and over again, and you can pick the flaws out, but it's very hard to make anything else happen at the moment with it because it's kind of where the value you want to see if it does work out for team lists. So fingers crossed everything, goes green, man. And then you're like, cool,
oh,
nothing to put out.
I got fingers crossed. I'll let you keep anything else you got to say for when you reveal your team. 5'8". I got Dill Brown still. I'm sticking with him. I know a few people are slowly getting off the Dill Brown train from what I've heard and what I've seen. I can't. I still think he's in for a huge year. I've got Sean Lane, so I feel like as long as I have Sean Lane, I've got to kind of stick with Dill Brown because it's a partnership in a way. I feel like they'll both benefit from each other. And just from a few more things I've heard the last couple of days coming out of para training, I think Moses has said it's been Dill Brown's biggest preseason he's seen, and he's seriously basically just telling the group whenever he can that he owes them so much from last year, and I hope he keeps in that mind frame. I saw an interview where he said he does definitely needs to mature. He recognizes that now, so I feel like everything's pointing to the fact that 780K is a lot of money. There is quite a real scenario where he does drop money, say in the first couple of weeks, and then comes back. But I'm happy to ride it out because I think in the end, I'll go out and say now, I actually reckon he'll finish the season costing more than 780K. I think he's in for a bumper
Yeah.
year, and once he hits his form and gets going, I think he'll just hit the ground running. Hopefully, anyway, I don't want to jinx it too much. Being a Para fan, I don't like to own too many Para players because of that. But he's just one I can't get away from. Jaden Campbell, we've obviously seen the news the last couple of days. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but there's definitely rumors around that he's racing the clock to be fit. So that means there's going to be no trial games for him. No, obviously Indigenous All Stars either. And then round one is a huge question mark at the moment for him and David Fafita. For mine, if that's the case, he doesn't play. If he isn't named, he'll be straight out of my team. I'm going to keep him there for now, just because there's that much rumors around this at the moment when it comes to team lists and things like that. I just don't know what to believe. Um, I think the Campbell Graham one, I actually got whispers of that the last day or two, and I just wasn't sure I'd believe it. But then it obviously was confirmed today. So until it's confirmed, until the Titans come out and say, yeah, he's out for a month or something, I'll then move him off. But the thing is, who I'm moving him off to, or the one or two players I will, I'll save money. So that's definitely an advantage for me. I'm not too fussed about it. I think Jaden Campbell will have a great year. But if I can downgrade that to one of these players I'm thinking of, so like maybe a Flanagan, for instance, is one of the players, and he can get me a quick 50K or something, 100K, I'm always happy to then go back up to maybe Campbell in the first couple, because the Titans do have a juicy draw for quite a period of time to start the season. So I can't have him if he misses out, because that means I'm missing the first 2 weeks. And at the moment, he was definitely going to be a reserve for mine, so that I lose that. So it's definitely something I have to play around with my team, banking on that. Sort of, I'd be banking on him to get, I reckon, an average of 60 or so to start the year with the draw that the Titans have. So I definitely need to make some changes to make sure I'm getting that on my bench come round 1 and 2. My wings and centers, I've still got the hammer. I was tempted the other day when I was trying to sort some things out. I actually got tempted to get rid of him, but I remembered he's my man. I will not do that. I am starting with him. I'm sticking with him. So 600K, come on down. And you know what? I've heard a couple of other guys shout out to the guru. Obviously, they're listening, and Timmy, Supercoach Playbook, because they've mentioned lately as well that they are finding the hammer really juicy. So thanks, boys, for listening. Really appreciate it. I got May from the Panthers as well, 458K. I think we've spoken about him before. I think you're silly to not start with him. There is, I've actually heard one or two things saying he might go back to the wing to start with. Who knows? But even if that's the case, I think that's better in a way. But
Yeah,
even if he's a
100%.
center, even if he
Yeah.
starts at center, I'm still happy to ride that wave with him. I think the Panthers in the long run will obviously be the Panthers and be a really good team. My surprise, so I sent it, just a bit of a background. I sent my team today to Jesse, and then late minute change. I actually had another player and I wasn't really set on him, and I had enough money, and I go, you know what? I'm tempted to try this one. A late change. I brought Corey Oates in, which
Mm,
may be a shock to everyone because I've not heard anyone talk to him. I talk about him, but what I've realized is Mariner's been named in a trial this week. I don't think many players who are named this week are serious choices for round one. There is obviously a special scenarios where maybe they come back from injury or something, but from all reports, and the other thing was Oates got named in Queensland's extended squad. He was playing reserve grade last year. That you can't tell me if he wasn't a fair income chance and pretty much penned in for this year, he'd be getting part of that, named to be part of that squad, because that squad was ridiculous. Whoever hasn't seen it, quickly do a Google and look at it, because the names there. It's scary for a New South Wales fan, but I think Oates is in for a huge year. I think he will get through a decent amount of work. I've sort of looked back at some stats this afternoon when he was fully fit. He's definitely got a little bit of base there. And I just think with the modern Broncos backline and the like, there'll definitely be a few tries. He can score as well. Definitely not 100% locked on him, but for now, I think he's a nice little pot option, and I like to have a couple of those pot options to start with. Ethan, what do you got?
it's a hell of a pot option, I'll tell you that. I saw it instantly when this loaded up because I hadn't seen your team and I knew you'd made a change and I saw Corey Oates, and it's funny that you did that because I looked at him the other day too and thinking, who is there in the mid 400s that's any good? Once you
Yeah,
get Taylor May, I've got one other one that I like, but there's just nothing. For
yeah.
for a good 120K, there's nothing. And there was him. I thought, I know he's playing.
He's not
Is it
shy to do some work either. That's what I like about him. Like, I feel like there's going to be at least maybe 30, 35 of base most weeks with
well,
him. So I'm
pretty much he's all base because like I know he
yeah,
had that one year where he scored, I don't know, 20 something tries, but that was just one year. Like you look everywhere around it, and there's just handfuls of them. So everything he's done is just base work. So it's a different one. It's definitely pod. But for the price, it's one of those ones at the moment where you look around and you just go, at least you know he's going to play, because no one else really
yes.
has that certainty. So
Well,
don't.
that's what I think. And now I feel like with these, everyone is literally talking about him, saying how fit he is, how much he sort of wound back the clock in a way. I feel like that's because his mentality would be, after what the Broncos did last year, there's definitely chances for the Broncos to achieve something this year. And if this is his last year, He wants to go out on his terms. He'd love to go out, obviously, getting out that ring. So he's doing, by the sounds of it, everything he can, and he's obviously already impressing the right people. Yeah, if he's a starter, I feel like he will definitely stay in my team. It's a juicy price as well, like you said, that 450 mark. We've always talked about having at least one or two in the back line for that, who can obviously be those players that go up to that 600, 650K mark. That then you can look at maybe getting those somehow getting those Marjus and Val Holmes and the like in. So that's definitely my plan there. Ethan Strange for the Raiders, 238. That's one I'm still a little bit unsure. I think he does get a center spot, but that's just I haven't seen or heard anything to confirm that, but that's more hopeful. I guess the other thing for him is if Kyle Weeks doesn't do what he should do at 5'8", he can always slot in there as well. So for now, I don't know if I don't want him to start as my fourth. I've got to change some things around. I don't like that, but we'll see what happens. Jed Cartwright for the Knights, dual second row, 238K. Again, I've got him because I feel like he'll definitely be a bench player, but I feel like he can be one of those bench players that at least gets enough to do a slow sort of burn, cash wise, and just sort of get a little bit here and there. And I know if there is injuries in the back line, I'm anticipating him to be one of those ones that do come in as cover, just being that toiler that the coach knows what he'll get out of. I said at the start I wanted all my players to be playing round one. Now, I don't think Ilero for the Sharks, fullback dual, 219K, will start because I don't have any faith that Fitzy will actually do some changes that I think he should do. But I think the kid's a freak. I think he will definitely play a part this year. So, he's probably my only player that I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to just sit on him. And I know that one day I'd get him in on my team. So I'm just going to bite the bullet now. He's cheap. He helps me fill a spot, put the number there. There's obviously 7 players in the back line. So I feel comfortable having at least 2 to play with each week. And then when it's Ero's time to shine, I'm happy to do that. Stewart is a late one for mine. I brought him in. I got rid of Savage from my team. I'm hearing more and more words that Chevy Stewart could be starting the year at fullback, which if that's the case, after what we spoke about last year, he was starting at fullback in reserve grade, not Savage. I just feel like it could be Stewart's time. And if it is 204 base and price starting fullback, he will be 100% owned in Supercoach. But at the start of the year, that is ridiculous. My fullbacks, Ponga, obviously, I've always said he's one of the must-haves, 892K. Again, between him and probably Hines for the first 5 to 6 weeks, they'll be my captain choices each and every week. And we spoke about it. James Tedesco, he has dead set made his way into my team. I'm on the Tedesco train. Again, I said I'm on the Roosters train. I think they'll have a great year. So I've got to be on a few of their players. And I actually think Tedesco, Maguire's really pushed him when it comes to whenever he's interviewed about the Blues, saying his spot's not guaranteed. I think that's really going to push James Tedesco. And like we said, he's not playing like a plus 30-year-old would naturally. Like his body doesn't look like it's falling apart. He hasn't had any of the real big injuries lately. He still looks really fit. He plays fit. We've always said his biggest downside is he gets too involved. So for mine, I feel like he still can be a super good relevant player and at least get me through until some of those bigger guns like the Turbos and the Trells prove to me they can be trusted. And then I'll look to make that trade up to one of those, probably 2 players. So that's the second side, Jess.
Obviously, Brown is a gun.
Thank you.
Great pick. I can't, you can't knock anyone for that. It's the premium
Appreciate
for a
it.
reason. So very good. Jaden Campbell though, yeah, I don't know. He kind of took a hammer to my team with all that doubt stuff, and I did some tweaking. That's why my team looks the way it does, but it's not all the way there. But I
Hey,
had to
hang on.
make a bit of
Everyone
changes.
out
So
there, I haven't seen anyone else take the Jaden Campbell news as personally as Jesse has. Jesse's dead set. It's felt like he's lost one of his bloody kids or something with it. It's like they've gone walkabouts or something. Jesse, like even Messi, he goes, mate, this is not good. He's dead set being, he's downplaying this at the moment. He has been ropeable about this news.
I had so much pivoting off his price tag and movements that I was able to do without really dismantling my team, and I was very happy to have him in there as my starting 5'8". That was the thing. As a starting 5'8", I was like,
Yeah,
I can
you
make
had
do
no
with this
deal Brown.
for a fair while. I've got a lot of cash saved. Now I don't have that option, and I just don't like anyone else there. So I've had to go back to the top again, or close to it, and it's just yeah, it struggles at the moment. So yeah, the thing is, like, if he's out for round one, he won't play, and then he's got to buy round two. So it's just not worth it's not worth having him at that price for no position for at least 2 weeks. Um, so it's a bit of a shit one, but um, he's going to down cash for you. Like you're going to bank from him, which is great, great. So um, you can get some starting center wings with that money. That
Oh,
might
definitely,
might
definitely.
help. Another thing with Corey Oates too, I mentioned he didn't score a try last year. He didn't score a
That's
try, and I think he got 2 try assists and still averaged 44. So you know, it's not the worst thing if you can actually get some attacking stats. There
I'm
is,
a super coach gun. I told
there is a
you,
better up.
inch at a
There is a better
time
up.
is coming.
Yeah.
We are raising the bar this year, inch at a time.
I want to see the ownership of Corey Oates go like high now. I want to see people start popping screenshots up Corey Oates in there, and I'm going to blame you for that one. So
Send it through, tag the page. I hate to say I told you so. After round one, he
yeah,
scores a
you're
100,
leading you're leading people
even at
astray.
Vegas.
Maybe. Yeah,
Draft
but
pick.
you've
I reckon
been
if you're 1, 2, or 3 in draft, Oates has to be in your plans.
yeah. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get picked at the very end. No, the commander can go either way with him. Like he's definitely got a spot, and he had no attacking
Yeah.
stats really. Maybe a couple line breaks and stuff, but I just didn't watch. So, um, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it kind of falls off after that. It just
Yeah, I was going
depends
to say we'll
on.
leave that. I think leave that for now because I know a lot of these players you actually do have as well. So let's save it. We'll go
Mhm.
over to yours now, and then you can talk more about your team, obviously, and then these certain players as well. So this is Jesse's team for the YouTube watchers, listeners. We're going over to the champ, the defending 14th overall champ. Three
What a
thousand
title
nine
to
hundred
claim.
dollars remaining. Um, I, I don't know how that feels not having money. So you can
Oh,
inform us how that does feel.
mm, it's I have to. I use all my budget, man.
I was
I've had
going
a
to say
few
you've
in.
actually had teams where you've had $0 remaining somehow. So
Yeah, that's kind of the goal for me. I like to get $0 out of it, and there's a couple. I've got a
yeah,
few decent little teams with $0 on there. Um, I just made one with Turbo in
and
it.
yeah, before you kick things off, just so everyone does know, we would probably, you will realize that we do have a couple of players similar in that. Obviously, naturally, I feel like just because doing the podcast and that together, we're talking and stuff, we're starting to bounce ideas of each other and just things naturally fall into place with certain things. So I think from a content point of view, throughout the season stuff, when we're talking about our teams, we'll definitely try our best to make some interesting points or at least say things that we do or things like that. But there's obviously going to be times where maybe our teams will look quite similar in that, but that's probably, I think, just naturally we come up with good ideas and we'll both go, oh, you know what, that's a great idea. Obviously, naturally, you're just going to go ahead and make that play. So off you go.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, man. We talk about these teams, in quite a bit of depth as well. Going through each position, and things just pop out to you. You have these little light bulb moments, and you think, you know what, that might be worth it. So I did the same. I went to Brandon Smith. Ideally, I would definitely like to have at least Robson or someone of that sort of price and quality there, but budget forbidding, I don't think it's a bad pick. So again, it will be a temporary run. Hopefully, it just goes up, and I still have Brayley. Um, just depending what happens with which Parramatta hooker the Eels go with, I'll just run with whoever it is if I can make my changes around. But yeah, at least I know Brayley's probably going to start. I don't think Crossland will get the start, but I don't know which one of the other two will. So that's really much the only reason there. I got Totola in May. I've been pretty solid on Totola from the beginning. He's always the first prop that I put in there, and I've gone away from the big dogs with Haas and stuff, obviously because of how much more you have to spread that coin out this year with the lack of
Yeah.
good cheapies. So it won't be too far away before I see him back in the team, but I just have to make sure I get those cheapies right so I can actually afford it. But Liam Knight, we spoke about May the other day, if you've seen the Roosters one, but um, I just think he's got great amount of upside at his price. I think even off the bench, he'll be pretty good. But I've got Liam Knight in there because I just think he's going to be a starting prop, and he's a draw, and
Yeah.
that's kind of the only reason too. So I've kind of gone cheap in the front rows, just hoping there's a bit of value that boosts up. And Sam Hughes, we kind of all know how that's going, so fingers crossed it's as good as Preston. Um, my second row did change. I had Cam Murray in there for the longest time, and
Full
I had
form.
Nakora in there for a while too because I really wanted to take advantage of that, shark start. But I ended up going back again with the Campbell news back down. So Crichton's been brought in, but I've got both Fermor and Lane. They haven't come out of the team once. I'm pretty set on those two at the very least. Crichton's obviously the wishful hope, thinking that he can get his starting position back and go up in price, but it'll just depend. I've got Piakura there on the bench, and it could be Piakura or Curran, either way.
Yeah.
I could even go from that position down to a Morgan Smithies or Pierce Paul, depending what happens, and then putting that value back into the starting second rowers, because as it stands, besides Fermor's buy, the other two don't have to worry about one for a long time. So
Yeah.
um, that's kind of half the plan. I just want to get starting players for now. If I can avoid buys as much as possible until I get a bit of coverage built up, that's sort of where it's at. And then, yeah, I've just got Egan on there because it's not for feeder, but it could be the other one. And again, yeah, that Cleary Hines combo, that was the reason for all of this, which is very different to I think was it Cleary and Caesar last time? I can't even remember looking that far back at where I was thinking,
Yeah.
but
No, I think you had Hines. I think.
yeah, was it Hines?
I,
Yeah, it was
I
one
think
of
you
the
did
two.
definitely have Hines. You said Hines was. We both agreed he's pretty much first picked for every team. It should be so.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how much, you've got to go up to, or how much of the team has to come down to get those individuals to come really high up. But um, I'm gonna probably make a change there, I think. I don't know yet. I don't want to not have them, but I'm not very confident at the moment. I just gotta wait till team lists come, like everyone else. Um, second page.
Yeah. Second, I'll just quickly.
Yeah.
I'll touch on Bo Firma is
Mm,
obviously for mine. I'll still just obviously coming back from that ACL. I'm just nervous about, but the fact that he's already been named in that Queensland team, he looks red hot in training. I'm coming around more and more to him. The only one thing I will say, I'm just waiting to see what side he and Fafita lines up on. That's my big thing now. I just want to whoever lines
no,
up alongside Kieran Foran will be who I want to get in my team pretty much straight after that buy, I think, because they will take off, and I think it would be the world of good for them and Kieran Foran bring out the best in their game. So I'm a little bit
mm,
hesitant. I think for mine, Curran's got a bit more security at 4 now. But upside, I can understand Bo Fermor. He was a gun. I think a lot of people, once again, because of it's a long injury, forget just how good he was. And I think the Titans missed him so much last year. I'm really looking forward to seeing him get back. Fingers crossed, another one of these guys come back from a big injury that he can stay on the field. So I can definitely not knock it. You've always been high on him, so that's obviously your gut feel. So we always say is
mm,
trust your gut. So
yeah.
I can definitely respect that one. But that's pretty much all. Like I definitely feel like there's upside in Liam Knight as well. I think he might be one of the guys I'll try and get into that spot moving forward, just to sort of get better, probably upgrade to Cura and make it work somehow. But yeah, apart from that, I understand the rest of it. So yeah, second page, I can see straight
Um,
away.
So I've gone with Munster as my starting 5'8". Obviously, I think if I had the coin to afford Brown, I don't know. I'm starting to think like once they get past that Panthers game, it's not bad for him realistically, and I feel like Munster scores his best games against the big teams anyway. It's kind of when it's a bit of a walkover game for him where you see him just step back and think, oh, let the other guys do it. I don't have to really do too much. But when it's against the big dogs, which they do start off with a few of them, um, I really like it. And traditionally he's always averaged more than Brown has. It's just it's obviously the limelight's a bit over Dylan Brown at the moment. So it's also half the reason around the team name this year, the Cameron Dumpsters. So we'll
I don't think you actually revealed that yet. So that's a little.
No, no,
Um,
that's one. Yeah, so I've gone
that's your.
from
That's your. That's like, come on, you got to be better than that.
yeah, yeah. I didn't even realize that because I didn't usually actually change the name, but yeah, I was our Trider last year, and I've gone this year with the Cameron Dumpsters. So Cam Dumpsters, I can call them.
Oh, so what we'll have all year is inch at a time versus the Cameron dumpsters. So
Yeah.
make of that what you will.
I've got Flanagan as my backup. I just think he's just too much possibility at 300 to be anything. If he goes down, he goes down. It's nothing I'm breaking the bank for, and if he goes up, then it's good for me. So I just don't see any loss there. I much prefer him than Kyle Weeks, so that's pretty
Yeah.
clear. I've got a bit of coin spent in the centers. It's not a bit of coin really because it's not that great, but there's a bit more than I had initially, I think. But I've got Penasini in there. I did want to have something to take advantage of that Eels run, and it wasn't Dylan Brown. So I just thought Penasini, out of everyone in the back line, they're looking pretty rough. I think he's just going to be the best in there, and I think he probably was the best a bit last year, and he's very consistent. So not bad for his price either, 570. I just thought around his price, I didn't like anyone else at all, so I thought that was pretty solid. And Zach Labor, he's another one of those gut feels too. I think if you can nail down that center spot, he'll be quite good because he had a few tries. I think he scored 3 tries in the 4 games that he played last year, and a couple of them were really big scores. So he just needs to get that spot. But I think he's competing against Valia, the new signing from the Warriors there. So I feel like he's got a bit more of a chance because of the games last year. Um,
Yeah.
and if he does, then I just see it as upside, only value because obviously he can score tries. Again, the Cowboys were pretty well hot when he came into the team, so that could have been part of it. Um, but I've always been one or the other. I think between Labart or Talagi, I do want somebody from the Cowboys in there, and if I could have Val Holmes, I would. But I just have to see how I can make that work. Maybe I've got to sacrifice one of the halves, but Taylor May again. Yeah, it's a big one, man. I don't know. Taylor May, it's Taylor May. He's coming off an ACL too, so I don't see you talking too much about May's ACL as opposed to Fermor's. You know what I mean?
Oh, come on. Here we
Come on now.
No, it's valid. It's valid. So,
Yeah,
but like, yeah.
but it's just it's a nicer
Uh,
price too. Actually, no, they're
yeah,
very similar priced, so
they
that's
are.
there. If he goes to the wing, incredible. You know what I mean? I'd prefer him at the wing, but if he's at the center and he's next to Toto, then I'm fine with that as well. So, um, yeah,
This next one.
this
Woo!
next one, Drew Hutchison. So I just threw him in there because I needed a 350 player, right? And you had Bronson Cherries and Xavier Savages, and I kind of wanted to keep a buffer of 350 for anyone else, depending on what the team list look like. But I'm starting to hear some things from um, people up around the Belmore area. So I worked there and I lived there for a while, and I've got some friends who have some friends in the clubs, and we don't talk about rumors on this thing. All right, we don't even go there, but there's just some
Oh,
people
yes,
saying
we
that
do.
there's people telling me, right, that he's got a leg in for that 7 spot, and Sexton looks like he's on the other side of it. So if he can get a halfback spot as a dual center at 350K, I am all over it. And I just don't know. So it could be anyone at 350 again. It's not locked in a hard show, but why not? If it looks likely, which I don't know. I'm just hopeful to see what happens. It might not. It might be nowhere, but for now, it's just a placeholder at 350. But it's a different one, so I'll take it there. And um, Bostock again, he's named on the wing. I will take that for a starting player at least. So at least I know these 4. Hopefully, Labour gets starting, but ideally, there's a few of them in there that I can at least field a team with. Strange and Stewart again. Everyone's got at least one of them, but I think Stewart's probably looking pretty good for it. So I'll take him at his price. And we have the same fullbacks. It's always fun. Ponga and
Great
Teddy.
minds think alike.
How good's that?
And you already put the
Obviously
C on him. You're that confident. You're like, yeah, just put it on him now and just leave it.
on Ponga. Yeah, he's had
Yeah.
the C on him. He's the first person I put in the team. So I go Ponga, captain, and then it's done. So um, yeah. Well, how much more praise can you sing about him? We talk about Ponga every episode.
Yeah.
And Tedesco, we
It's
spoke about him, a couple of days ago. I just feel like it's 700. Again, I've got 300k in the bank. Oh, sorry, 300. I've got $3,000 in the bank. I
you
wish I had
wish.
300. With 3,000, I can't do much more. So it's either I stick with Teddy, providing trials go well for Pappy, I'll probably go down, or I do some halves changes and I move things around. But I feel like I'll have Hines, I'll have Ponga, I'll probably have Munster too, actually, because I do like having Munster. Um, and then a lot of my front row stuff's pretty well where I want it to be, and if I can go up from hooker, I will, um, and second row. But it just depends on how the team lists look, because this is kind of where I sort of want to be with it, but it's not at the same time. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens, man. It's forever changing until the day.
Yeah, no, I agree. And just, yeah, touching on that, obviously, I understand Flanagan. For mine, it just seems so weird to be like talking about Flanagan again in a super coach perspective, but
It's
definitely
priced
can see
well.
he's up. Like, I feel like there's has to be some sort of upside alongside Ben Hunt. Depending on how they work Lomax around that team, if you can chime in with those two, surely you can get some attacking stats from that, and at least be putting in some decent numbers to stay sort of steady. My one nervous thing I have about my team that I do like about yours, and you're probably thinking the same. I look at the Cowboys, and I just feel like I need to have a couple of Cowboys players in my team, and at the moment I have none. And that's actually made me a bit nervous because I've always said from when we've done the team previews and the like that I really like their draw. Um, the Cowboys are a team we have to still preview. I think we're doing that next week, so I won't say too much about them. But um, that is definitely a team for mine because of how they start. I definitely want to get in on that. The ideal candidate, I still feel like Val Holmes is my guy that I
Yeah,
wanted to
of
somehow
course.
fit in, but I just can't at the moment, which is killing me. And to be honest, he's probably the first one I get in if I change Cleary. It would be to get Val Holmes in. And then maybe look like even like it's hard because the forwards for the Cowboys, I don't know if there's too much value as such what I've got in my team at the moment. It's more so I'd be looking at getting some of them in once I get some value out of some of my players to sort of upgrade to and the like. Like I think Ruben Cotter is a decent option, but I want to get him in and just have his points and just ride with him for the like say the rest of the season. That'd be my play with Ruben Cotter. So at the moment, I want to start with players that can get me some cash, can increase that flow, and then go to those sorts of players. So, but yeah, as I said, not having a Cowboy yet is definitely nerve wracking for me. I definitely like Labart. I hope he gets the center spot because I definitely think he'll be a massive play, super coach wise.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. I think he's got a great deal of upside, and we'll just have to see. I do like that pick.
Yeah.
You should probably, maybe look at one of them. Obviously, Holmes is the guy. So, but again, like, how much would you be saving just going from Cleary down to Holmes, and who would you be putting in there? If it's not
Yeah,
substantial
true.
enough, I'd probably just want to keep Cleary.
Oh, the things we have to think about. I
Yeah.
said, guys, that we will do a third reveal the week of Team List Tuesday, obviously. So we'll probably just blend it in with a massive episode with our obviously talking about the first team list as well. So, and actually, well, we won't get. It'll sort of be a split one because obviously Vegas and that as well. So we'll probably have to
Mm,
do a reveal the
yeah.
players who are playing
Round
Vegas,
zero
and we'll just
team list,
name.
maybe.
We'll talk about we'll talk about our round zero players who are there. So say Tedesco's still there, obviously we'll be talking about him, and we'll just
Yep.
work it out. But as I said, we do have one final preview to do next week. That'll be. I'm trying to think. It's been a massive day. I'm pretty sure it's the Eels, the Cowboys,
Yep.
and South actually, so it's a big one.
Oh,
There's
geez, it's a
definitely
big
some
one
super
too.
coach.
Bloody hell.
It's like we say these every week. I think about this and I go, "Holy shit!" But now, keen as to talk about that one. So thank you once
Yeah.
again, guys. Hope you enjoy this one. Let us know who's in your team in the comments below, or reach out to the page. Again, make sure you follow us on our social media pages. Give us a bit of extra love there. Finally, obviously, there is players here that ideally we wouldn't probably have. It just is about working around your team and making sure it all works. And as you said, sort of we've chosen players like Cleary, Hines, and Ponga, who we feel like, and for me, Dill Brown, who I feel like just has to be in my team. And obviously that means I've got to take some hits elsewhere. Like ideally, you might come at us and go, "Oh, I can't believe you don't have so and so." Well, look, if we had unlimited cash, I would have so and so, but I just can't. So, any final message from you, Jesse, before I sign off?
Yeah, just on that too, like, everyone's team's a little bit different, and obviously,
Yeah,
no one's gonna have anything locked in until the round starts. So just a bit of fun at the moment, throwing stuff together. Build some formats, get an idea of where to divvy the cash and who looks, get your favorites at the price points too, because when you start to build from one position instead of another one, you realize how things change pretty quick. So when you go from the top down, like most do, you get to the bottom of your center wings and you've got no coin left, and that's why you have to get the cheapies. But if you start from the fullbacks and work up, it changes a lot. It's
yeah,
something little like that. So you make little lists, pick your players. I like this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Budget providing, I can do that. Why not? But yeah,
yeah,
I do look through the whole list, and I don't like everyone. There's only a handful in there, but like I still want to get Carraz. I can definitely go, Teddy to Pap and Penasini to Carraz, and I'm gonna be. I'd love to do that, to be honest. That's a hell of a lot of Bulldogs in my team, so that's half the reason I haven't.
yeah.
So there's little things like that, but yeah, it's just working it out at the moment. But we'll have to do another one right before the round starts, obviously, and say this is the works, and I can bet you it'd be pretty different. So
Yeah. No, looking
yeah,
forward to it. So that's
yeah,
all we've got time for, guys. Thank you once again for tuning in. We've given you what you've all asked for. So I hope you love the content. Make sure you like the episode. We'll go a long way, or subscribe if you're listening on podcast as well. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your day whenever you're listening to this. Bye for now.